podcast we touched on everyone's weight on a little we all declared our weights, but I'm trying to get back into the gym. It's quite a tough thing to do,
especially
getting back into the gym. It's hard for everyone to actually get back into the gym, especially if you stop for a while.
If you fall off.
If you fall off. Sorry. But I think like people in sports, they have to train all the time, right? We always look at them and be like, I wish I was that athletic or that DAC or that strong or whatever it might be, okay? But a lot of people say that they get there because they've used steroids. So I think the topic we're going to discuss now is basically whether steroids should be legalized in sport, okay? I think we should try to keep it in sport.
Okay.
We can touch on outside of sport, but the topic of conversation is in sport, I reckon. What do you think of steroids being legalized in sport?
Well, the problem it comes down to is that if we go straight into it, we got to look at Lance Armstrong. He was nailed for blood doping. And I read a statistic or something, which is accurate, is the fact that, he got nailed, a couple guys get nailed, but when you look at the stats behind it or just the scene behind it, there are so many people doing it that just aren't getting caught. You can look at rugby. We talked about the World Cup just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that these oaks at lock and prop and stuff are not taking steroids. I think they are, and they just know when to do it.
I agree because the way that they test as well, I think it's very easy to kind of jip the system when it comes to the testing and stuff. So I think like the few people that do get caught have just been kind of dumb, but I think majority of the people.
I'm not sure exactly what the tests. Is it piss tests? I think for
I think
steroids.
there's various different types. You can do blood, you can do piss. There's obviously different ways they can find it. But the thing for me is that sometimes you don't even need to fucking test these people. You can go to some people and be like, bro,
you
are fucking juicing.
This guy's a brick shit house.
Dude,
it's like out of his ears.
He's got a fucking pimple the size of my head on the back, and it's like
there's some body flags. He's bald.
Are you juicing? It's like, no, I'm not. It's like, okay, bro, fuck off. I can see you are juicing. I just think a lot of people, right? We've all, as you grow up, you're like, okay, let's get into the gym, and we've been gymming naturally for how long, right? Obviously, the more effort you put in, the better you'll look. Because for a lot of people, taking steroids is about how you look, right? They're not professional sportsmen, right? So they just want to look good. So like for us, we train to look good, right? I haven't been training a lot lately, but when I was training a lot and eating right and actually putting in a diet that I should take and everything, I got to a pretty good where I looked alright. I was pretty happy with myself.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And then you look at these guys that are like in the sports industry doing like, I don't know, rugby, the NFL, all these really big, strong people. You're like, how the fuck did you get there? And then you realize, there's a point in your life where you realize you're like, they're fucking spating something.
We know people personally that have been on steroids and playing sports and stuff. I think it's just, if you, for example, are playing lock or prop or hooker or something in rugby and you've never taken steroids in your life, then fuck, congratulations.
Yeah, because you're also going to be at a big disadvantage compared to someone that you're scrumming against who has been taking steroids,
Well, that's what it comes down to. Back to the discussion
topic,
of
whether
it should be legalized. You could say that, yes, steroids will give you a huge advantage.
Yeah.
With the strength, the weight, the endurance, depending on what you take. But at the same time, you still got to have the skill and ability to get where you are. I can't just go now, take some steroids and be a professional rugby player or a cyclist, for example. You still need to have that
talent
and
that
everything has to be there.
But once you're all there at the same level of talent and skill, you take steroids 100%.
You're going to be better than the other person,
But at the end of the day, a whole bunch of oaks are taking it, and it's very hard to monitor who is not.
Yeah.
So the argument that I have against, I think I've got 2 points against legalizing steroids in sport. Is firstly, steroids fucks your body up.
Not healthy.
It does severe damage, but you can say I've got a whiskey in front of me. Oaks smoke. Oaks. They all got their damages.
Yeah.
So does
Something,
steroids. But I saw some crazy stat with Oaks taking the bodybuilders taking steroids and their age, their life expectancy. Sorry, it's low. It's actually scarily low.
Yeah.
But they obviously flog the steroids. These guys that we say sportsmen in general don't
they
really,
juice like all the time.
they don't really overdo it like these bodybuilders do. But yeah, so my first thing is this, and it is such a health issue, and if that becomes a trend in society that starts at a young age, saying if you want to make it in here,
need to take roids.
you've got to take roids.
Yeah.
And Oaks are starting at 16, Oaks are dying at 40.
Yeah.
And that must, being successful in sport must not be revolve around whether you take steroids or not.
Yeah.
My second argument is that if you legalize steroids in sports, what about the guys who say, oh, fuck that, I don't want to damage my body, or I just don't want to take steroids.
Yeah.
Why do I have, because I want to play by the rules. Why
Jeez,
do
I did not think
have
of
to-
one of these 2 points you brought up, bro.
Yeah, why do
very,
I
very
have
interesting.
to now be subjected to all these guys taking steroids? I stand no chance. The only way I can compete is if I take steroids now.
And fuck my own body up.
Fuck my own body up, and also maybe it goes against everything I stand for.
Yeah.
Yeah, moral
Yeah.
issues there.
But then on the same point, I mean, those are 2 very strong points, I think,
Yeah.
especially the latter point of for why it shouldn't be legalized unless you do fucking. You could talk. They say you can make a steroids competition, a non-steroids competition, but then
Yeah.
the steroids guys are going to enter the non-steroids and just time it well
Yeah.
in the non-steroids competition. So in that sense, don't. But in respect of going or legalizing steroids in sports, so many guys are doing it. It's
crazy.
So many people are doing it so hard to monitor. Why don't you just let everyone?
I think
let
because that's
loose?
that's the big answer, the big argument. Sorry, people are going to say everyone's already doing it. Why not just legalize it? Make it open and say, okay, everyone just take juice, and then, okay, who the best man will win.
Yeah.
Then it comes
'cause-
down to just skill.
Yeah, I think if it is legalized, then it will level the playing field.
That's the one argument.
And that's the one
Safe
thing.
for the guys that refuse to take the steroids.
You see, I didn't think about that at
another
all.
thing. Yeah, that's,
you know,
that's a good point.
because you always think for some reason that
Everyone would like to do it.
would like to
Some
do it.
people don't.
Would really
Yeah.
want to rather
Yeah.
just be natural.
Yeah. And I think when we're talking about the health issue as well, I think when it comes to sportsmen and stuff,
Yeah.
the steroids that they're taking, I think, is monitored medically as well. I think it's
It's not in an underground lab. It's
But these-
a-
yeah,
and
like
they're not
dodgy
just
shit,
like,
yeah.
and they're not just like putting everything into their bodies
It's very
to become like a
strategic,
bodybuilder or whatever. It's very strategic, and I think it is looked after medically as well. So the health issue there,
I think it
it
reduces
obviously
a
is
bit.
still bad, but I think it's reduced.
Yeah, it's
I
interesting
actually
point to
tend to
raise.
agree with you there, because if it is monitored correctly, I think you could probably be able. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of these guys are retiring at the age of below 40. So
if they stop
once you
doing it
clean
then,
off
yeah.
steroids, then like
Yeah, it's like
life.
quitting smoking. You actually work
Exactly.
towards not getting that.
But then
Yeah.
I read as well that steroids actually have a huge addictive compound to it.
Yeah, because I think
Steroids
the
are
way
addictive.
people like start looking at themselves and that feeling that they get of actually like, oh my word, look how good I look how good I perform. That feeling of being like, whew, I'm fucking killing it. They get addicted to that feeling, you know.
Yeah. And being able to
Yeah.
perform at that level, and then you think to yourself, if I don't have it, I'm not going to perform as
Yeah.
well.
Well,
And
actually, I actually knew a guy who, just a gym buddy back in the day.
Yeah.
He
You're
would
gonna
take
expose
those-
someone now.
I won't say his name.
Exposed.
That's scary.
Exposed on the wiki order.
To segment of that.
We're just gonna start exposing everyone.
So far, I've been the most exposed out of anyone. But, he had it's like a person who's anorexic, for example.
Yeah.
He would look at himself in the mirror and always be like,
I
I'm
heard
not
about
big
this,
enough.
yeah.
I'm small. But when I look at him, I'm like, holy shit, this
Yeah.
is a giant.
Yeah.
Is it that
And I think
bigorexia
there
or
was
whatever?
it is bigorexia, yeah. I mean, it sounds like such
Doesn't
a common
sound cool.
fucking
Yeah,
name.
it sounds so dumb. Bro. They could have got a
We're
better
not
word
saying
for
the
it.
correct name. We just made up bigorexia. It's an actual thing, but that's also going off the sporting and more into the bodybuilding and stuff.
So
you
for
sort
me,
of know my you sort of know
yeah,
my
I know what you're
opinion
trying to
with
say.
this,
So look,
yeah.
I also think bodybuilders in general, they all juicing, bro. Like none of those fucking O's, bro. They look like they've been genetically modified, bro. It's like, what the fuck is going on here, dude?
I know.
But like for me, here's another argument that I was thinking of. Let's say someone's really overweight, right? Because in doing my research, I found out that some steroids are for, I don't know, building a lot of muscle quickly. Some steroids are for actually cutting weight, you know? So if you have someone that's really overweight, which is a health risk in itself, is it not better that maybe he takes, I don't know, a course or two of steroids, loses that weight, and actually becomes healthier and then gets off it, you know? This is now obviously not to do with sport, but just steroids in general.
People in general.
Because I know, so a lot of people actually get into like car accidents or whatever, and they, let's say, they damage their legs so
steroids for
badly.
recovery are
They,
really common,
doctors,
that's fine.
doctors prescribe steroids, you know.
Yeah.
So steroids can help people. In
I had my
certain-
jaw when I had my jaw up. I had tons of steroids. I was literally functioning.
Exposed, you exposed yourself.
I take steroids.
That's why you weigh 110. Pure muscle. Jeez, like.
So that's what I had because I mean they broke my jaw and reattached it. They did the same with my brother.
Yeah.
It's genetics, and we needed steroids to, I guess, strengthen
That's
our
crazy, yeah.
muscles. And
It's got a big, so it does have upside, which I'm trying to say.
yes,
Yeah.
the
And
recovery,
in certain situations, I think it could be used correctly. But now, when you take it to the sports industry, right? I think people are like you said, how can someone compete that is taking steroids against someone that is not taking steroids? It's not an even playing field. It's like men and women competing together. It's not an even playing field. It's like disabled people competing against people that are full body able, you know?
Yeah.
It's not going to be...
Oscar did that. He came last.
And look
then
where
you
he is
shot
now. Very well. So another thing for me is that I think also the reason why they don't just say, listen, they're all taking steroids and this is what's all going on, is because it's actually more entertaining knowing that people might fool themselves and be like, listen, these guys aren't taking steroids. Because some people, you can speak to them, they'll be like, no, this guy's not juicing, bro. You know, a lot of people are very naive to it and they think, no, these are just natural feats that these people have.
Yeah.
You know, and they will be like, wow, it's amazing, you know. When in actual fact, these are also just juicing it up. And yeah. So I feel like for viewership, it helps not knowing that everyone's juicing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
but
Not a big load, but it does maybe contribute to it a bit. Yeah.
A point that you raised just now about people getting injured, like for example my jaw and using steroids. It comes back down to the usual conversation of you need Ritalin, I don't. I'll be abusing it, but because you need it,
Yeah, all these varsity students are abusing Ritalin.
That's an example, or first example I could think of.
Yeah.
But if you need steroids, take steroids, but as soon as you don't. It becomes an abuse of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For example, painkillers.
Painkillers become a big thing, yeah.
I know the Americans, what the hell do they take that they all get fucking addicted to? Like certain kinds of
It's
opioids and shit.
what's it called? It's
Well, like Xanax and stuff.
Xanax.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love their
Like,
Xanax,
you either
bro.
need
The
it
purple drank and
or
this
it
shit. Yeah.
becomes, or
Yeah.
it becomes an abuse.
No, definitely.
So I think steroids can fall directly into that category.
Yeah.
And I think we just need to broaden on steroids. I mean, we say steroids, but
Yeah.
then we look at blood doping with Lance
So
Armstrong,
what if-
human
yeah.
growth hormones,
It's
stuff
a
like that.
big category
So
to
it's not
dive into.
necessarily
Yeah.
steroids itself, there is so much
Yeah.
shit that you could do to your body to enhance yourself.
So maybe what if in sport you actually monitor it even more? What if they do
That would
more
have to be
drug
a
testing?
suggestion, yes.
Yeah, what if they
Yeah.
do more drug testing before? Maybe 3 times a season you'd have to get tested.
Yeah.
In off season you'd have to get tested X amount of times to make sure that you can't actually fuck the
Yeah.
system, you know.
So I'm assuming testing for steroids is an expensive bloody process.
Yeah.
I think
why-
especially if it's going to be like blood tests
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
think like piss tests and stuff, I don't think is too much of an expense.
But also
Yeah.
gets out of your system so quickly with piss tests.
You know,
But
to
that's
test
why
it every
they,
week.
yeah, that's how they can.
Yeah, it is
Why-
a tough
why would
one,
you not
bro.
go maybe you do a blood test.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say it's a cycling event.
Yeah.
And you do a blood test maybe a month and a bit or a month before it starts. and then directly before it starts. Because then if they are going to take steroids, they would have taken before that month, and the effects probably still will not be as what they should be.
Yeah.
Or he takes in between that time and has to get that shit out of his body as quick as fucking possible before the next blood test, just before the race. If you know what I'm saying.
I feel like I feel like I have a special ability. They should just employ me, and I'll tell them exactly who's juicing and who's not.
Just line them up.
Just line them up. Yes, no, yes, no. I'll play like the Tinder of juicing, bro. Just swipe left, swipe right. Yeah, it's you, it's not you.
Yeah, but also like say, okay, the South African Springbok team. Who does the juice tests?
I know. Look, I'm laughing because I probably think fucking 13 out of the 15 are on juice.
I'm not going to go on to who's on juice.
15 out of the 15.
I'd say
maybe not Cheslin.
Bro, have you seen that old without a shirt on? He's this big. I mean, you can't grow taller.
If there was a taller steroid, I would have taken it.
That looks shredded as shit. Yeah. They discontinued that tall steroid once I was 16. Dude. So I got as far as I could.
Maybe when they did the jaw up, you got a bit taller.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that who would do the steroid test for the Springboks? Is it a neutral party, or is it just someone from the Springboks that's bound by some
has
sort
to
of
be a neutral party?
Because
they always have to make it a third party to keep it sort of legitimate.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's just frustrating when it shows how much timing goes into it, because they know exactly, or they're told by their doctors, because a doctor would obviously say, let me rather tell you how to do this safely.
Yeah.
Because the doctor can't say, if you bought the steroids from someone else and I go up to my doctor and say, listen, I'm going to take this.
Yeah.
I need your advice on it. They're not going to say, no, fuck off, don't. I think they have a professional duty to say,
if you're going to do it like this. Yeah.
This is how you do it properly and to be safe.
The thing is that what I was thinking, going back to that health issue, is that if they do legalize it and it's like levels playing field, people are going to take more of it as well.
Yeah, I think it becomes a health issue.
A race of steroids, because they'll be like, oh fuck, Freddie took Debo, I'm on Debo, let me take
20 times. Yeah, let me take if he's taking 10 a day, I'll take 20 a day. Just to be better than him. I think it's just gonna. So yeah, I think my opinion is that it shouldn't be legalized in sport, because it's just going to be, you actually open my eyes a lot, Frey, that it's just going to become a fuck show of people just fucking up their bodies. Yeah. And then for those who don't want to take it, they're just going to be losing out at the end of the day. So I think they should just maybe monitor it more.
That's exactly what I would say.
Clamp down.
It must be unlawful, and then it just needs to be monitored.
This was the quickest conclusion we've gotten to ever. That was amazing.